Welcome back to the Keeping the Dream Alive podcast. Today I have the opportunity to sit down with two representatives from organizations here in Huntsville, one with the Family Services Center and one with Food Bank of North Alabama. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Happy to be here, yeah.
So to get started, would you like to introduce yourself and we'll kind of begin there?
All right. My name is Darren Geiger, and I am the president and CEO of the Family Services Center. Been with the Family Services Center since 2010, so this is going on my 15th year, coming up really quick. Been in this field for about 34 years, so, but again, we appreciate just the opportunity to come and talk with you a little bit today.
And I'm Shirley Schofield. I'm the CEO of the Food Bank of North Alabama, and I have been at the Food Bank since about 2014, but I've been the CEO a little bit less than that, more like 5-6 years.
So looking at the clients that you serve, the people in the community that you serve, how many people do you serve annually here in Huntsville, Alabama?
Well, we're just now really kind of trying to dive into some data collection and trying to get a handle on the numbers. But I can tell you that there are just under 200,000 people in the area that we serve that are considered food insecure. And that's the core of who we're trying to make sure that we can provide food for. And so we work through a network of other organizations. And so we're hitting about 80,000 people each month. And so our goal is to try to reach every single one of those people who needs us.
For us, we and it's funny you said that about just some data points, because we have, when I first got there, we didn't have as many data points as we do now, which is a good thing, because just the other day, I noticed in our last fiscal year, we served right at 1,000 new people this past year, and then we provided 10,000 units of service over the different programs and services that we offer. And already tracking into this current fiscal year, we're scheduled to be ahead of that. So, probably about 25% based on the current numbers right now. So I think for all of us, the reality is that the need is increasing, in the community. And that's certainly something I think any of the nonprofits serving the folks that we do would want to make sure folks know as we continue to grow as a community, the needs do as well.
Yeah. And I think it's incredible. You kind of alluded to it earlier, but what is sort of the services and the process or the things that you offer for the community with both your organizations?
Family Services Center started out as simply a counseling agency back in 1962, and from that time until now, over these last, you think about it, that's been 62 years that we've been here. We've morphed into a variety of things. So we definitely counseling, mental health is a big deal. Substance abuse, we provide parenting, domestic violence, anger management. We do an after-school program with FAST. We have a lot of acronyms at Family Services Center. FAST stands for Families and Schools Together. So we go into school systems really with the desire to decrease and eliminate child abuse and neglect. That's the main purpose, but it serves a lot of other purposes as well, bonding families and kids with school staff, improving overall school performance, connection to the community, and things like that. We have a Caring Cars program where folks will donate vehicles to us, and then in turn we will get those to families who are working but don't have reliable transportation. We have a workforce development program that helps folks who either aren't employed, underemployed, looking to get their GED, some sort of trade, and that's a free program that we offer. LIFT Housing stands for Living and Family Transition. So we have an emergency shelter, transitional homes, and then you can become a first-time homeowner through our program as well. So there's a continuum there of being able to help folks kind of transition from literally homelessness to become a first-time homeowner.
Wow.
And then let's see, parenting, conflict resolution. Man, I could go on and on. I don't want to maximize necessarily the time, but we have about 19 or 20 different programs. We most recently too became the lead of the HMIS, the Homeless Management Information System here for North Alabama. So we're coordinating the data that's coming in from folks that are homeless. So there's a lot of, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of collaboration with other agencies. Whatever they do, because we're all serving really the same folks, quite frankly. They just have a lot of different needs. So,
and
I think that is one of the great things about this community is there's so much collaboration going on, so many different ways that groups are working together to make this just a better place entirely.
Yeah, and it's incredible to see. I mean, we've been able to talk with a couple other nonprofits, and it's incredible just to see how the similarities between nonprofits and the similarities between the organizations that we've been able to highlight. It's even though y'all are serving a different community, it is all part of the same community, and that's meeting the needs. And it was we had an interaction earlier where one organization realized they could help the other organization with stuff that they get because it doesn't really fit their mission, but it fits the other person's mission, and it was a really cool dynamic. As you to support the community in the ways at which you support takes funding. What does sort of the funding look like, and how do you get the funding to support the community at large?
So just to give you a little bit of background just about the food bank, we are the largest nonprofit that is addressing hunger and food insecurity in particular in our community, in our 11 counties. And so, but of course we do that, as I said, with collaborations and partnerships with a lot of other groups. And so our funding is tied to a lot of different things. We have a very giving community here, and we're very thankful for that. We also do a lot of grants. We have some different programs that are paid for through government funding. So we have a variety of different ways that we receive funding, and that is crucial for any nonprofit. Is you have to diversify where your funding is coming from. And so, again, we're very lucky to have a giving community and get donations from the just individuals as well as corporations, but also to have another line of funding is really helpful.
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, I think it's important for any nonprofit to be diversified. That's really the word. We also have grants that we write, and we're constantly looking for things. We are a partner agency, one of the partner agencies of the United Way of Madison County, and have been. Like I said, we started here in 1962. We became a United Way partner agency in 1964. So we've been a continuous partner from that time. So 3 of the programs that I mentioned earlier do receive some funding from United Way, and that's the counseling, the lift, and the fast program. And then we've got some programs that are free. Again, there are many programs that are free, grant based. And then we do have some fee-for-service programs too, like the mental health counseling. We do have a sliding scale for that. Mm-hmm. So if someone comes in and they don't have funding, I can say this, and in the 15 years I've been there, if somebody's coming in and they've needed a service, we're going to make sure you get that service, whether you have the ability or not. We've not turned anybody away from that, and that won't happen as long as I'm there. But with that also comes the reality. We have to pay for therapists. We got to keep the lights on. There are things that have to happen, So again, we get some funding from United Way. We look at grants. Certainly when folks come in, they have insurance and all that. It helps, with that reality. So diversity is the key as far as those funding sources, but that's always a challenge. Yeah. It's always a challenge, and especially with the way the economy's been for the last few years and things like that. There's always those ebbs and flows that we have to navigate, and it's one of the biggest challenges, quite frankly.
And as you were saying earlier, just the sheer number is growing.
Yeah, yes.
We're really happy to be a part of a community that is growing and improving, and you see all these accolades about being best places to live. Those are wonderful. And it does bring a lot of people in. It brings people of every level into the community as well. And so there's a lot of support, employees and things like that sometimes need our help.
Yeah, and it's not going to. Huntsville's not slowing down. It's not getting to a point that we've plateaued. It's just continuously growing, and like you said, it's the diversification of where you find funding, not allowing one well to dry up and then the whole business dry up is super important, especially as you're trying to grow and scale. Looking at as we're winding out 2024, moving into 2025, what is the biggest need for both of your organizations as we move into the new year?
For us, and it's I just had this question asked earlier today by someone else, and it's been that way for a minute, and it goes back to our lift housing, the living and family transition. When you're taking folks that are literally homeless, and we've got 19 dwellings, we've got 10 emergency shelter units, 9 transitional units, and so there's constant upkeep and need for roofs, HVAC units, all of that stuff, that is not cheap either, right? So lift housing for us, because while we do get some funding, it's not remotely close to be able to keep up with the needs that, again, that as a regular homeowner or whatever that we just face, things wear out. When I was a kid, my dad had a phrase and he said, if it's not one thing, it's another. And I never knew what that meant as a young person, but now I'm like, as I've been a homeowner for a number of years, I'm like, oh, that's what he meant, and we have that same challenge as an organization of making sure, because this isn't just a place for folks to come. It's comfortable. It's warm. It's a home. Yeah. We want them. This isn't just a place to lay your head. It's a home, and we want to make that look nice and feel, comfortable for them and all that. But that's always a challenge because, again, it's just part of nature. Things break down. They get older. So that's our need. That's our focus.
I think one of the biggest things that we're looking at in the coming year is certainly we're trying to do more work with schools and in-school pantries, and that can sometimes be expensive. We're also working more with the healthcare community. Since food is it is a basic need, you really can't do a lot of things unless you have the right kind of nutritious food, and that can affect your health. It can affect your ability to learn. There's so many things that are tied to having good, nutritious food. And so we're really looking at working more directly with school districts and individual schools as well as healthcare clinics to make sure that they have everything they need to make sure our community is successful. And so we've done specific healthcare boxes that are for people with diabetes or people with hypertension. And it just really can make people so much healthier if they've got the right kind of food. Same thing for schools. If we can make sure that schools have ability to make sure that families have the food they need, those kids can learn. They can be the next generation of scientists and engineers and take all of our jobs one day.
Yeah, and I think it's incredible just to think, the impact that y'all are having, the impact you're continuing to have in the community. I would assume a big part of your yearly outlook is looking at events and fundraising things that the community can be involved with, either free events or paid events to kind of give back to your organizations. Talk a little bit about what some of these fundraising events and annual events look like and when they occur.
For us, we really kind of changed our format. We're looking at some things now for upcoming fundraising into the next year. There's nothing as far as specific dates at this point, but we will definitely have those on our website when we get those knocked out. But we do some things with our homicide survivors program. One of the programs I didn't even mention, we provide grief counseling, individual counseling, family counseling to families who've lost a loved one in not only Madison County, but we're really responsible for the top third of Alabama. So we have a couple of events throughout the year that we do. We just did one, Lights of Love, holiday dinner that Taco Mama was very gracious to provide some meals for. So we had a group there that we do that with. And then earlier in the year, usually April to May, we do a vigil out at Big Spring Park at the gazebo there. So those are two for that particular program we do. We were doing a bike ride until COVID happened, and then things kind of shifted for many folks, during that time, which supported our mental health counseling program. And then at Fractal Brewing last year, I have a friend who reached out to me that were doing some bands that got together and wanted to really raise awareness for mental health and reached out to me. And so we were a beneficiary of that. So there's some things that happened last year. And again, we're kind of looking at a second round of the mental health fundraiser and things like that. We don't have dates currently, but we'll definitely keep that posted. But
awesome.
We're kind of in the same situation where we used to have an annual fundraiser, but it kind of, went by the wayside during COVID, and we haven't really picked anything back up. So we really do most of our fundraising online. We direct people to our website. There's a pretty easy way to donate online. We do generally have a big diaper drive because we are also the diaper bank for the community. We have that in the fall, and we'll have a few food drives and so forth throughout the year. But really, there's an opportunity for people to help year-round.
Yeah, and I for those that are listening and they want to donate, they want to volunteer, they want to be a part of it, where's the best place to connect with both of you?
For us, it's our website. Definitely we have a lot of options. If people can go to our website, they can find out how to volunteer. And that's actually one of the biggest ways the community can help us is to come in and volunteer. We've got a lot of different things that people can help do. They can help pack boxes, or they can help sort food, or they can help with one of our pantries. So there's a lot of different ways that families can come and help out.
Yeah, for us, it's a little bit trickier, and I always say this too, just because of the very dynamics of some of the programs that I mentioned and the confidentiality and some of those things. It makes it a little tricky for the volunteer piece for us. But we do have, some folks that will do that, and certainly just, getting on the website, www.fsc-hsv.org gives you a wide variety of the programs and the services we offer, but you can also call the main number, and then again, opportunities for volunteerism is more those events, and we have some folks that have done that, but it's really we've got to be somewhat mindful of the families and situations that we're dealing with.
Yeah. We also have an opportunity for a lot of corporations if they want to come in and do team building, or just if they have a program where their employees can come and volunteer, they can do it as a group or individuals. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to have all the links to your website in the episode notes. So if anyone's watching or listening and they want to find out more information, those links will be there. But I appreciate y'all taking the last little bit, talking about your organizations, the impact, who you serve in this community. The impact you're having in this community is evident, and I think it's going to continue to grow as Huntsville continues to grow. And hopefully conversations like this will spark people that are listening to be a part of it and help support you in your mission. So I appreciate y'all being here today, and thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, especially this is our 40th anniversary this year being in this community, and we really appreciate opportunities to like this to share what we do and to be part of learning about other organizations as well. So thank you.
Well, and that's, and you've already mentioned it, but I think we definitely would want folks to know just there's a huge collaboration out here with folks, agencies, whether they're whatever they do, because again, I think we serve a lot of, and the need is, and you mentioned earlier, and I've talked about this before, which is, this community is known, have great resources. We have a lot of luxuries in this community, but there really are a tremendous amount of folks that are in need. And I think we have, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, I think there can be at times an assumption that it's folks that aren't, they're not doing their part, so to speak, right? They're not, but these are folks that are working, they're out there trying to make do with their families, and it's tough, so we're doing, I think all of us are in that boat of giving folks a hand up, right? Not a handout, so to speak. But look, and another reality is that at any given time, life throws us all curveballs. So we never know when we might be in one of those positions.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It happens.
There's, I think, in some of the information we have, about 70% of the people that we're serving actually work. But so many families, so many individuals are just one big expense, whether it's your car breaks down, you have a medical emergency or a dental emergency, anything like that. You lose work for one day, and that can really have an impact on your family. So,
yeah. Well, I appreciate y'all being here. I think I learned a lot about y'all's organizations, more than I knew prior, and I'm excited for the audience and the listeners to learn more and find ways to get involved. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.